Hey everyone, Leo is here with another Jumpstart Lightning episode, and today I am joined by Ben to talk to me about Azure Arc Enabled Data Services, how to get started, and funky automation that he created with a bunch of weird stuff. So let's talk about it today. Stay tuned. Let's do this. Hey everyone, Leo is here. We are in another Jumpstart Lightning episode. Today I have Ben. Ben, how you doing, man?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting to talk to you. I know that you've been involved with the Azure Arc space, specifically with data services. So I was excited for you to come on the show and talk about some things that you're doing with Azure Arc Enabled Data Services and some, cool automation that I know that you have to show the audience. So first and foremost, tell the audience, Ben, who you are. What is it that you do?
My name is Ben Weisman. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a data platform MVP from Germany, and I consider myself a community and data passionist, if that makes sense.
I like that.
What that means is I'm involved in running a couple of events in the data platform community, and I'd like to get my hands dirty when it comes to cool new tech, SQL on Kubernetes, big data clusters. So Arc-enabled data services was kind of the logical next step because, getting something that was exclusively running on Azure, running on my own on-prem hardware, something like a Nuke, for example, cool stuff. Had to try that out. But it's not just cool, it's also useful. So that's why I love it, and that's why I love spending time on it and seeing it develop over the last couple of months now. And now we're basically at GA. So that was an interesting and fun journey.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Azure Arc Enabled Data Services with SQL MI got GA. The beta is going to be available in a few days, actually, on the 30th. And talking about cool stuff, I wanted to ask you first and foremost, what is cool about Azure Arc Enabled Data Services for you? I know that you've been involved. I know that you've been doing stuff, but I really like to hear that from the fire hose. What is so cool about that?
Well, I got two answers for that. There's the tech cool on that, and I'm going to show you that in a second. I'm deploying a managed instance to my on-prem hardware. How cool is that? If you just consider everything that's involved with that, stuff like automated backups, stuff like automated updates and stuff, which are all part of MI, even though not of all that is here yet. But so that is the tech part that is super cool about it. Also, the Kubernetes nativeness, the Azure nativeness. So if you already know Kubernetes, you know how to deploy an Arc managed instance on-prem or in any cloud, anywhere. If you already know the Azure CLI, you can do that. If you already know the Azure portals, you just need to know any of those and you can do that. So I could go to the Azure portal, click a couple of buttons, fill in a couple of forms, and all of a sudden there's something being deployed to my own hardware.
Yeah.
That's so crazy cool.
You and I are, we like to nerd on this type of stuff, and I know that you have some cool things to show me today. So let's talk about it. Let's just dive into it.
Okay. So one of the, and like I said, there's the tech cool, and there's kind of the cool part from where it actually gets into production. And the cool thing about Arc-enabled data services that it is really true hybrid. You get and when I say on-premise, I don't really mean on-premise. I just mean wherever you have your Arc deployed, because as you know, it can be on-premises, but it can also be in any cloud, being it Azure or any of the other clouds that we're not going to name. But wherever that is, you got local monitoring and metrics through Kibana and Grafana, but at the same time through the Azure portal. I can deploy it through ARM templates, through Git merges, through the CLI, through ADS, or through kubectl, and all that. That really shows how hybrid this is. So as long as you get either cloud or on-prem knowledge, you'll be good. Let me just show you something here real quick. I already deployed my data controller. So all I would need to do to get a new managed instance deployed into that data controller is run this line of code here, AZ SQL MIR create. So let's just do this and fire this up. And what this will do is this will create a new managed instance in my, or in this case, on-prem Kubernetes cluster. Running just this line of code. And if you look at this command, AZ SQL MIR create, if you've deployed a managed instance before, all you would do is AZ SQL MI create, giving it a name just like here. And the only difference would be you point it to a resource group rather than pointing it to a Kubernetes namespace.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's commonality enough. Super cool. And the other cool thing is deploying a managed instance takes a while. This thing will be ready for us in about a good minute.
Yeah. You know, Ben, one of the most common questions that I'm getting when I'm talking to partners, when I'm talking to customers, when I'm talking to our own Microsoft field is, how does Azure Arc change my current management operations and tools specifically, right? And the answer that I always like to give is that it doesn't. And I think that this is a good example, like the AZ experience that you're showing right now. I think that it shows, that type of unified experience,
This. And I mean, as you can see here, now I switched to Azure Data Studio, where I could also have, there's a new instance button here. I could have clicked that and go through a wizard. So it really comes down to personal preference, which makes it also easy for people to adopt that. And the other thing that I think is super cool about Arc is, and that may be me coming from Central Europe, we're doing poorly when it comes to cloud adoption. I mean, we celebrate ourselves every single year on growth and stuff, but the reason for that is it's so much easier to get from 1 to 2 than it is from 10,000 to 20,000.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is many companies here are not ready to move to the cloud. And there may be legitimate reasons like infrastructure, but there's also tons of reasons like, we don't trust Microsoft to have our data. I was actually just another call with one of your colleagues where I've learned you already have enough data. You don't need ours. There seem to be people that don't believe that. So this is the perfect entry level for those who are like, hey, you may not be ready to move to the cloud yet, but you can now use the same code base.
Right.
So you can modernize to an Arc-enabled MI, have that run on-premise for a month, for a year, for a decade, however long you think you will need to make that next step. But when you're there, all you do in your application is change the IP address or the connection string and point it to wherever your Arc MI has moved to. And you're still getting all these amazing, cool benefits.
Right.
Way to go.
100%, I agree with you. I think that data sovereignty is probably one of the top 2 use cases that we're hearing about when it comes to Azure Arc-enabled data services. I think that the example that you're giving around Germany specifically and Europe in general, with a lot of regulations, a lot of compliance requirements, all that, I think that it's very much relevant to that use case. Ben, I wanna switch gears and you showed me some stuff before, and I want to show that to the audience. And in Jumpstart Lightning, I'm all about the weird stuff that people are doing. So talk to me about that. I know that you did some weird stuff with some automation. So let's go.
So let me show you that. I mean, it's a device that I haven't heard about a year ago, and then COVID kicked in, and everyone got their cool gadgets. And so I got a Stream Deck here, which is basically just a little device that you plug into your computer, and then you can have those interactive buttons. And as you can see here, I got an Arc logo up there. So every single time I push that button, a new MI will be deployed on my cluster. So it basically all this thing will do is it will check, are there already any Stream Deck provisioned instances, and if there are, it will just go ahead and count up from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, and so on.
Yeah, and I know that you wrote some stuff around that, so we're obviously going to share some links in the description below.
But of course,
yeah, I mean, I like when people are doing weird stuff. When it comes to automation.
It is super weird. As you can see here, we got now my Stream Deck MI1 creating. So this is now being created. About a minute later, we're going to have that. So every single time one of my customers calls me now and tells me, hey, Ben, I need a new managed instance. Make it happen. I would just lean back and push that fancy button.
That's that's very cool. That's very cool, and I like it. So, Ben, as you know, Jumpstart Lightning, we like to keep it short and sweet. And what I wanted to talk to you about is that I know that you have a Pluralsight course. We actually had on the previous episode, we had Steve that was talking about his Azure Arc-enabled Kubernetes course. And I know that you have a course around data services. I wanted you to talk to me about that. And also, I know that you also have a book. So I got that book here with me. So we're obviously going to share that link below for people to go and buy that book. So talk to me about the Pluralsight course and the book and the experience.
So Well, the Pluralsight course was even a more enjoyable experience than the book, because with the book, by the time this gets published, it will already be outdated and it's harder to fix it. So obviously now with everything going GA, we will rewrite the book, and I will also update the Pluralsight courses. But one of the things, if I get passionate about technology, I want to share that. I used to be at like tons of conferences, and what I just realized, I'm getting a bit tired of all the virtual conferences. So, and plus, I'm not traveling that much. So I was thinking about what can I do, and one of those things were, hey, I could actually professionalize the way I do my content creation in a bit, and well, Pluralsight seemed to be a great answer to that. So I actually did 2 Arc courses, and just like Steve, who did the Kubernetes course, and I think the other one he's currently working on is Arc-enabled servers. I got 1 course on Arc, the big picture, where I'm actually looking at all the different Arc services, and then 1 specifically on Arc-enabled data services. And in that course, and again, I'm going to be updating that very soon, so it actually reflects all the new commands and codes and everything. I will guide you from where to start with the data controller, what a data controller even is. So that slide that we briefly looked at in the beginning, we're really going into more depth with that, but also a hands-on experience where I'm basically showing how you can deploy all that. But that obviously has its limits, because there's only so much you can do in a 50-minute course, and I'm not a friend of doing all these in-depth things, especially with technology that changes so fast. So there's a great follow-up to the book or the course, and you may have heard about that. There's the Jumpstart site. No, it's really amazing what you did there, because the Jumpstart, especially for people that are not like me, that want to get their hands dirty and basically figure everything out themselves. But if you just want to touch base with technology, having the ability to basically, almost like with my Stream Deck, almost at a push of a button, get all that environments ready so I can actually work with the application without having to worry yet about everything that's going on beneath that. That's awesome.
I'm thinking about your Stream Deck automation, and I can, if I'm going wild, if I'm going wild here, I'm thinking about, not just 1 button, like the entire Stream Deck opens with a bunch of Jumpstart scenarios. So I might want to think about it. So again, this is the book that Ben wrote, and really awesome work. I love when people are coming and contributing to community, and I can totally relate to what you were saying about trying to make my content and the way that I'm producing that content in a more professional fashion, so things will actually land nicely with my audience, with my readers. So Steve, to wrap things up, Ben, to wrap things up, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Well, the best way, especially for tech stuff like that, is to hit me up on Twitter, at @bweisman. My DMs are open, or just add me, or find me on LinkedIn. That's another way, or follow me on Pluralsight.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to share your social media profiles in the description below as well. And for you folks, the Jumpstart audience, please make sure that you're subscribing to our channel, you're liking, and you're hitting the bell button, so you will know when we're releasing a new demo, a new Jumpstart Lightning episode. And Ben, I really want to thank you for coming and be a guest on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.